Okay, welcome replay viewers, and good evening everybody. We're on the Brooklyn dock in Center Moriches, and we're going to watch the Wednesday night sailboat races from the Moriches Yacht Club. Folks are getting set up to sail. I promised you last Wednesday night, which was the first week of sailing, we broadcast from my home, but I thought I would come down here to Union Dock. Let's get a little closer to the corner of the dock here, and I can then move the camera around. And the other thing I can do is go to my audio for wind resistance, so I'm going to plug in my external microphone. We'll switch to that. Just bear with me for a few minutes while we get set up here. Okay, this is looking at the Moriches Yacht Club marina here in Center Moriches, and the Flying Scots and the other classes of boats that will be sailing are getting ready. They're rigging their boats at the dock inside the marina here. And I'll just pan around and show you the general area here. Thanks for joining, folks. We'll watch at least one race, maybe we'll watch two, because they don't run that long on the Wednesday night. Wednesday night is family fun racing. They try to get 3 races in, and then it's, you know, it's for at the end of the season you get a trophy cup or glass or something like that, depending upon where you finish for the season. So this is the second week of Wednesday night racing. They usually have 7 Wednesday nights that they sail here, nominally between 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time and 8 p.m. out here on Moriches Bay. Thanks for the like. What does Dutch Mars tell us? One YouTube like is 10,000 Periscope hearts. Right, we believe that. Alright, I'm panning around and I'm just looking out over Moriches Bay. Obviously all there is to see here is a blue body of water, but let me zoom in a little bit. Across the bay on the other side, you see that ribbon of green land? That's our barrier beach, the extension of Fire Island Barrier Beach. But out here, it's part of Suffolk County, Smith Point County Park, which starts south of Shirley, a couple of miles to the west of us, and it runs all the way to Moriches Inlet, about a mile east of us. So this is the undeveloped part of the park across the way there. With permits, you can travel down the beach with a 4-wheel drive vehicle all the way to the inlet. There's a Brookhaven Town Beach directly across from us. I'm going to point that way right now. It's known as Great Gun Beach, and it's accessible only by boat, so people go over there for years and years. And there's a town dock. I don't know if we can see any boats over there now. I can't zoom any further than this, but let me just try this. Okay, it's pretty much centered in the field of view right now. And then if I pan a little bit to the left, you can see the party boat Rosie out on the bay here. It's a boat that sails out of Old Neck Marina They go out for a few hours and they take people out flatfish fishing here. This time of year, fluke or whatever else is running. So they're out there for their evening cruise or fishing cruise. Alright, I'm going to zoom out now, zoom back down to normal distance width. We'll keep this in the panorama mode. So this is Moriches Bay, and I'm at the what they call the Brooklyn Dock at the end of Union Avenue in Center Moriches. And we'll get ready for the races here in a little while. Unfortunately, I'm looking right when I pan around to the dock, the floating dock in the Moriches Yacht Club Marina where they're rigging their sailboats. We're looking right into the sun, but we'll do that. Let's, just for the heck of it, turn around here and show you what's going on inside the marina. Alright, you can see the sun shining off the water. So right where the sun is shining on the water in the marina there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 flying Scots are being rigged, getting ready for Wednesday night racing. Looks like there's another one that's getting ready to be hoisted into the water. So we should have 6 or 7 Scots tonight. I see looks like a sunfish also ready to be launched in a little while for the races. What they normally do is they'll have a race per class. So Flying Scots, which are a 19-foot one design boat, 19-foot LOA, great for day sailing, but also great for racing. Sometimes these races get very competitive, especially the regattas that the yacht club holds here during the summertime, and people come in from other yacht clubs or other organizations and they sail out here on Moriches Bay on a weekend. Sometimes they'll schedule a 2-day regatta where they'll sail races on a Saturday and a Sunday. There'll also be a lot of sunfish regattas held here. But Flying Scot, as I said, is a 19-foot day sailor sloop. In other words, 2 sails, right? Main sail and forward sail, which is a jib. And it's normally sailed by a crew of 2, skipper and the crew person. If the winds are up, then you want to go out with a third person, a second crew member. Have that added weight in the boat for stability. It's a beautiful boat to sail here on Moriches Bay. We're just going to keep the video going, and they'll be sailing here within 10 minutes or so. Sailing out, and we'll watch the boats come out of the marina out into the bay here. In the meantime, let me pan around to the east, toward East Moriches, to the east end of the bay. This is looking off to the southeast, out toward Moriches Inlet, which is about 1.5 miles across the bay from us. And so that's the inlet that takes us out to the Atlantic Ocean. And I now see Rosie, the charter boat, or the party boat, I should say, heading east toward the inlet area. Because a lot of times the fishing is really good right on the north side of the inlet, especially if it's an incoming tide from the ocean. And now they're telling me I have a bad connection. Okay. Here's the other end of Brooklyn Dock. You can see some folks fishing. The building in the background over there is the Lindenmere. Was at one time, many decades ago, private home and restaurant in the 1940s and 50s. Recently, it was taken over and made into a bed and breakfast, although I understand it's been sold again just within the last few months or so. So new ownership now. And for those of you who may know a little bit about this, Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos owned this house when he was the president of the Philippines back in the 80s. And, you know, she was Philippines' first lady. So with government funds they expropriated, they bought this house. Then, of course, he was overthrown, and you know, the building was taken back by the Philippine government and then sold. So that's the history of that. Some people refer to it as the Marcos estate, but those of us who are here in Center Moriches know it as the Lindenmere. All right, I'm panning around now back toward the south, and I'll see how our sailboats are doing over here. Oh, here comes a Scot. So let me swing around. Let me swing around here. Watch this, folks. Here comes our first boat sailing. Okay. So they have to tack out against a southeast wind tonight, so they're going to tack against the wind. They're going to tack out. Here we come. Very good. So this is Flying Scot. So you see two crew members tonight. That's the first boat out, 49.90. That boat, let's see, 49.90, because mine is 49.08 from 1904. I have a Flying Scot at home. I no longer race it, not at age 77, but I raced that boat for many years. So this boat has to be like a, 1995 boat. And here comes the committee boat. Hi. Give us a good race. All right, this is probably the sailing instructor for the summer sailing lessons here for the young people. And I'm not sure if they have currently have adult lessons, although years ago we had Flying Scot sailing lessons for adults at nighttime here. We used to have Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday. And those of us who were in the Monday, Wednesday class used to race then on Wednesday nights as students. All right, so here's another committee boat. So these are the sailing instructors then for the summer season. And they're going out to adjust the course, which is a port triangle, they call it. You sail around 3 marks. You go upwind, downwind, and crosswind, generally speaking. So they'll sail heading toward the windward mark, or the upwind mark first. They'll round that mark, and then they'll head downwind toward us. Now let's see, let me pick out the course here. If this wind holds as it is right now, it's right out of the, let me get my bearings here, south-southeast. South-southeast. So the mark we see off in the distance, see that orange ball. It's a hippity hop. It's floating on the top of the bay, and it's anchored to the bottom of the bay about, well, the depth out there is about 6 or 8 feet. Right, so they have an anchor and a chain that holds that. So the one off in the distance is the upwind mark, the windward mark. So the boats will cross the start line, and here comes 4289. That looks like one of the, well, I'm not going to mention names, but the young lady who's sailing that is very familiar. All right, so there's the second Flying Scot heading out toward the course. Let's just stay on 4289 right now. So you see tonight with moderate winds, gentle winds I'll call them, they're all sailing with a crew of 2. Skipper and a forward crew person. The skipper operates the tiller and the main sheet for the main sail, and the forward crew person operates the jib sheets to operate the forward jib, port and starboard. Now I'm going to tell you a little sailing lesson here. This boat right now that we're watching is on what we call a port tack. She's sailing upwind into the wind, and the wind is coming over the left side of the boat, or the port side of the boat, okay, so from that direction. So she's sailing upwind, but you can't sail obviously directly into the wind. You have to sail off the wind a little bit. So nominally, hey, you go 45 degrees one direction, 45 degrees the other way. But a Flying Scot, you can point the boat much higher into the wind. You can actually get to say 35 degrees off the wind, 35 degrees off the wind. And that's how they'll sail upwind into the wind. They'll tack right, left, or starboard port. And then when they round the upwind mark, the windward mark, then they'll be coming downwind, and they'll let the mainsail out, and that'll catch the wind from behind the boat, and it will drive the boat downwind to this nearby mark here, the larger orange hippity hop that we see. So that's what they call the jibing mark, and the boat will round that mark. It'll turn around that mark. And then head for what we call the leeward mark, which is out on the distance here to the southwest. So then they'll round that mark and then head back to the finish line. So it's a pretty simple course they've laid out, but they have a good distance here tonight laid out for this. Oh, here comes another Scot coming out of the marina, so let me swing around here. 4977. So again, this is another 1995 boat. Let's see how they tack. Let's see who. Now this is sailing with 3 people, but maybe the weight of each individual is they're lightweight, so they want to balance the boat with a combined crew weight of maybe about 350, 400 pounds. And again, this is a boat 4977, 1995 time frame. Since my boat is 4908 from the year 1994. Now watch the tacking here. See? Now he's on a starboard tack. The problem is they're getting wakes coming in that are dampening them out. All right, now they're on a port tack, and they're going to sail out of the marina on a port tack. Now the young lady is the skipper. Now here comes a sunfish, right? Young person on a sunfish here, single-handed sailing, 411. And behind the Sunfish is 5752 Flying Scot. So let's just watch the action of the people coming out of the marina. All right, so the Sunfish 411 has cleared the marina. Now 5752 Flying Scot is on a port tack, heading out. And they got to watch themselves here, right? Because the first boat, which is on a starboard tack, has the right-of-way. See, that got a little close there. See, and 4977 had the right-of-way because she was on a starboard tack. In other words, the wind was coming over the right side of the boat or the starboard side of the boat. So somebody on a port tack has to yield. All right, here comes another Scot coming out. 5771. So these are recent boats. They're probably only more like 4 or 5 years old. I think Scot boats are now well over 6,000. So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Scots out. Here's a 5th Scot coming, and a 6th one behind that, so we're going to have 6 Flying Scots tonight. 5771, nice tack there. This is the color of my boat of 4908 with a white hull and blue stripes. Okay, now 5771 is on a port tack. Skipper and a young person as a crew person. Alright, and here comes, I guess what they're going to call is a rescue boat or somebody hanging out to, in case anybody has any problems or anything like that. Alright, let me swing around and show you the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th and final Flying Scot coming out. 3054. Is this my friend Kevin sailing? Hi. Give me a good smile. You're live YouTube. Good luck tonight, Kevin. All right, that's a young friend of mine from the neighborhood, and I've known him since he was a youngster. So they're sailing with 2 crew in that boat. All right, let's just watch the action out here. That's the last of the boats out of the marina. We'll watch the start of the race. Let me get position here so I can see get the start line centered. Now when the boats get out there, what we're going to hear in a little while is you're going to hear the horn sound on the committee boat starting line, and you're going to hear like a doot 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 doot. That's a warning, get ready for a start. And they usually do what they call a 3-minute dinghy start. So after everybody is alerted to get ready for the start, then they'll give a 3-minute mark, beep, beep, beep. Then they'll give a 2-minute mark, beep, beep, and a 1-minute mark, beep. All right, hear that? I hope that came through on the audio. So that's alerting the fleet to get ready for the start of the first race. And I'll walk you through the start with the sounds in case we don't hear them on the audio pickup here. I have my external microphone pinned to my chest with my little wind reduction mitten on on the microphone. It cuts down on wind noise. But this is very gentle tonight. This is no more than 6 or 8 miles an hour, if that. Gentle wind out of the south-southeast. It might be now more of a southeast breeze coming in. All right, 3 minutes to start. Beep, beep, beep. And then, of course, you have the landlubbers here that have to race up and down the road here, show off. Let me zoom in a little bit. Not too much, though, because I want to see all of the action. All right, 6 Flying Scots and 1 Sunfish for tonight's Moriches Yacht Club Wednesday night racing. Race number 1. Now the power boat that's stationary right in the middle of the sailboat fleet is the committee boat, and to its left in the view, or to the port, there's a small darker red marker, so that denotes the starting line from the bow of the committee boat to that other marker. So these 6 boats will have to cross that imaginary line between the committee boat and the other marker, and then they'll sail upwind to the southeast toward the windward mark, upwind mark. All right, we're just going to stay on this action right now where we are. I'll check my watch here. We should be very shortly to the 2-minute warning. See, now the boats start to jockey for position around the start line. Usually when there's like 1 minute to go, then you'll see them all gathering together to start sailing toward the start line. Oh, and then there'll be a separate start and a separate race for the Sunfish. So since that young man is the only boat in that class out there tonight, obviously he's going to win every race. Okay, I guess we're having a restart sequence. So that's telling the boats to gather again now for another 3-minute countdown. I guess they didn't like the first one that they were doing. So let's see what happens. Unless that was the alert for the Sunfish class. Think about this now. Let's see what we hear next. I'll stay directed right toward the committee boat and the start line. Okay, they're gonna try to go over again. That was the 3-minute mark for a dinghy start. 3 long beeps. So I guess we're gonna get serious about it this time. Thank you for the like. Appreciate that. Welcome to my YouTube live broadcast. We're here at Moriches Bay in Center Moriches, Long Island, New York. We're on what is known as Brooklyn Dock at the foot of Union Avenue here in Center Moriches. For you folks who are out of town, I'm on the south shore of Long Island, New York, about 62, 63 miles east of New York City. All right, 2 minutes. Beep, beep, 2 minutes to start. Beautiful, beautiful July 5th evening here right now. Low humidity. Temperature's got to be in the upper 70s Fahrenheit right now. Time is 6:56 Eastern Daylight Time. All right, that's 90 seconds. Beep, 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 beep. That's 90 seconds. One minute, long beep, 60 seconds to go for start. All right, they're all gathering near the start line right now, jockeying for starting position. "30 seconds, beep, beep, beep. See how they're all 20 seconds. "10, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. All right, so the Scott class has started. 6 Flying Scots sailing tonight in the first race of 3 races of the second week of Wednesday night club racing here at Moriches Yacht Club. It looks like a good start. I don't see a recall or anything. Nobody was over the line early. If you jump the start line early, then they would sound a recall signal to you. All right, let's just watch over this way now. I'm going to point toward the upwind or windward mark, as it's called. All right, so these 6 boats are sailing right now on a starboard tack. The wind is over the starboard side of the boat or the right side of the boat. See, and they're sailing upwind against the wind, and they're probably about 35 degrees or so, approximately, off the wind, sailing upwind. I hope some of them do spinnakers tonight. All right, somebody just went to a port tack. 3rd boat in the fleet there just went to a port tack. With light air like this or light winds, it's going to take them a while to wind. All right, we're back on the air again. This damn periscope is good. These people have to be shot. I just went to Zoom on this, and for whatever reason, it switched me from my YouTube live broadcast over to a Periscope broadcast. So those of you who know about Periscope, you know what I'm talking about, what I'm complaining about. And why a lot of us who have been doing live broadcasts on Periscope for the last 1.5 or 2 years have now switched to YouTube Live. Let me turn this a little bit. It's trying to tell me I have a bad connection here, but let's hope we don't. I'm on my Verizon link. All right, there's the Scott fleet. I guess the Sunfish is going to sail in the same race as the Scotts too, so then they will compensate for that as far as his times and everything, sailing with the larger boats. So he's not going to sail in his own race. All right, the lead boat you can see is now heading toward the windward mark, the upwind mark. Now let's watch that boat go to that mark. Oh no, it's lower the mark, so it has to tack, port tack, to get upwind a little further to get to the high side of that mark. All right, are they going to make it now? They just went back to a starboard tack. Let's see what happens. Make sure that centerboard is down so you're not sliding. All right, very good. All right, they just did a tight turn to port around that upwind mark. Now let that mainsail out. And the wind is now behind the boat, driving the boat toward the jibing mark, or the downwind mark. Second boat is now rounding the windward mark. But I don't see any spinnaker action tonight. A lot of times the more experienced sailors out there then will fly their spinnaker. Colorful sails that they use on the downwind legs that pull the boat along. Look like giant balloons in front of the boat. All right, 3 have rounded the mark. 4th one is now rounding the mark. And they're heading toward us, back toward Brooklyn Dock here at the foot of Union Avenue in Center Moriches and the Moriches Yacht Club. All right, the 5th boat has rounded the windward mark. Now this is where you use your mainsail to pull the boat, and also the front crew person works the jib to fill the jib with air to also use it to pull the boat. And what they do sometimes, and the second boat from the left has done that, they try to do what they call a wing on wing, wing and wing. The mainsail is on one side of the boat and the jib is on the opposite side of the boat, so that it can fill up with air from behind and help speed up the boat. Otherwise the jib is being blocked by the mainsail if they're both on the same side, so it's really not doing anything for you. But if you can get the jib over opposite from the mainsail, that gives you added sail area to pull the boat downwind. Again, I'm getting my very bad connection message here, so Verizon, you're letting me down. Now you have to watch for what they call accidental jibes here, where the boom actually would swing across the boat from one side to the other. In this case, from the port side of the boat over to the starboard side. That happens sometimes when you get the wind directly behind you and it grabs the sail and it just makes it want to flip-flop from one side to the other. But look how they're bunched up now. Okay, They're all going to approach this jibing mark pretty close. And this crew, the skipper will call ready to jibe or prepare to jibe. And the crew responds aye, and he's jibe ho. And what you do is you swing the mainsail boom from one side of the boat to the other, just as they've done right there. The first boat has done that. Now let's watch the boats 2, 3, 4, and watch how those mainsails snap across the boat. See that? So keep your heads low, folks, when that boom comes whipping across. And when you do that, you want to have your center board up. These boats sail with a center board, which extends full down, extends about 4 foot below the water line. And the reason for that is if you do a jibe in heavier air or higher winds, it could dig in and actually flip the boat over as you're doing this jibe. Now, they're having problems here because of wake action. See, they're all bounding up and down because of powerboat wakes, slowing everybody down. Going over to the leeward mark, which is off to our right. So the whole fleet has come to a screeching halt right here. But what you're trying to do now is what they call reaching. Beam reach or broad reach. The wind is now coming 90 degrees to the boat, ideally, from the southeast. So you set your sail at about 45 degrees out or less, and also the jib, and that will then pull the boat along toward the downwind mark or the leeward mark. And this is what they call the fastest point of sail. The boat actually moves fastest on a reach, beam reach or broad reach. Let's turn this so you can see the whole fleet now. So all the Scots have rounded the jibing mark, and they're all headed on a reach toward the leeward mark. And once they turn around that leeward mark, downwind mark, they'll be heading back to the finish line. This, of course, is what we call a port triangle. Sailing to port, 3 legs. All right, there's the whole fleet right now. I'll try to keep everybody in view. Oh, and our sunfish is in the rear here. Just let me turn. Here's our sunfish, lonely sunfish coming up to the jibing mark. So let's watch what he does, because there's a few minutes before they get to the other mark over there. He'll jibe his sail and it'll snap right across his hull, his cabin. All right, let's get up to the Scots now, as they're getting close to the leeward mark. But again, they've spread out. See, they were bunched up there at the jibing mark. Everybody caught up to the leader, and now the leader has increased his or her distance. So now that boat just rounded the leeward mark and is now going to trim in the sails, drop the centerboard down its full depth, and it's now sailing upwind again back toward the finish line. So from this angle, they're on a port tack. The wind is over the port deck. So they're going to sail on that point of sail for a while, and then you'll see them tack to the left, and the boat with the bow of the boat will swing to the left, and then they'll be on a starboard tack. So 3 boats have rounded the leeward mark. The 4th boat is going around now, or shortly. And we have 2 other boats in trail. All right, I see what their tactics are. They're going to go as high as they can. They're going to go upwind as far as they can on a port tack. And then they're going to, okay, the lead boat is now going to a starboard tack, right? He just tacked to starboard. Well, the boat swings to port, but he's on a starboard tack now. The wind is over the right or starboard deck. And they're sailing upwind on a starboard tack, heading for the finish line. So let's see if he has to do another tack before he gets to the finish line. He may try to hold this point of sail, or at the last minute he'll tack right in front of the bow of the committee boat and go across the line there, that being the shortest distance. All right, we'll keep our eyes on this one. But again, the fleet is spread out. This one boat has a commanding lead. All right, there in the center of the screen is the committee boat and the finish line. Hi Jay, how are you? We're here at Moriches Yacht Club in Center Moriches and watching the Wednesday night racing. Okay, this is the first race of 3 races tonight, and the first Flying Scot is now heading for the finish line. Let me pan over this way a little bit so we can watch the other boats catching up. All right, let's see what he does. I think he's going to have to tack again. He's going to have to go to a port tack to cross the line. But if he does that, then he has to yield to any boat on a starboard tack. All right, there he goes. He's going to port tack, going upwind on a port tack, heading for the bow of the committee boat, which is the finish line. Now we should hear the horn sound if he once he crosses the line, and then he will be declared the winner. He or she, whoever is sailing that boat. Let's hear that. Not yet. Okay, there. That's that boat just won the first race. Now you see the second boat coming up, and the third one. They're both going to have to go to tack to the opposite direction. Let's see when they do it. Oh, wait a minute. He's going for the mark at the other end of the finish line. Okay, so they stayed on a starboard tack and they just crossed the line. The third boat tacked back to a port tack and is heading for the finish line. So 2 boats are across the finish line. It's like a horse race, right? Win, place, and show. Third boat is now crossing the line. So 3 boats are across, 3 to go. Of course, these other 3 boats are out of the running for this race. But it's just the start of the season, so you could make up a lot of lost time in the weeks to come. Okay, let's see. My friend Kevin in his yellow boat there. All right, they're staying on a... No, he's going to tack and go across the line. Okay. So he split the finish line right in the middle of the finish line. And here come the last two Scots of the six, of the fleet of six tonight. Looks like one more boat to cross the finish line. And that boat is now over the line. Okay, so that's the end of the first Flying Scot race. And as I see, they're having the Sunfish sail in the races with the Scots. So because it's a totally different boat and different characteristics, he will be handicapped. And just because he's finishing last, or you know, physically looking at it, doesn't necessarily mean that he's the last boat in the race, because it all depends upon the timing. The handicap for the Sunfish fleet class. So we'll watch him finish, and then we'll say thank you for joining us for Wednesday night races here. Meanwhile, the first six Flying Scots will just hang out around the start line, getting ready for the start of the second race. And then the committee boat will let them know when that begins. They'll give them an alert, get ready for the start, and then they'll have a 3-minute mark, 2-minute mark, 90-second mark, 60 seconds, 30, 20, 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, beep, start. Alright, Sunfish is getting close to finishing here. Another 60 seconds for him. I used to love to do this, folks, on Wednesday nights. Be out here on my Flying Scot with our crew. Very enjoyable racing out here in the summer evenings. Alright, Sunfish is still in the race, heading for the finish line. The other 6 boats are just sailing around, getting ready for the start of the second race. Let's see what the Sunfish does. If he has, alright, he just tacked. So now he's heading upwind on a port tack, heading for the finish line. The other boats are supposed to stay out of his way because he's still racing. And if they don't, a foul could be called, and then that boat would be disqualified from the first race, or it could be disqualified. All right, the Sunfish is back on a starboard tack, upwind, and okay, he's over the line. Very good. All right, well, thanks for joining me tonight, folks. So that is the second week of Wednesday night racing here at the Moriches Yacht Club. There'll be 2 more races following this. And we'll come back another night. Hopefully we'll even see a larger fleet out here. Alright, so I'm going to sign off for now, and we'll see everybody on next broadcast. Take care, folks.